So we've had a couple of direct/presentation type things recently. One of them had people way too hyped given how starved we are for information, and the other was exactly what Nintendo had told us it was going to be, but the internet got all mad anyway. But rather than get all ranty, I thought I would inject a little positivity into proceedings and highlight some of the games that are coming to Switch in the latter half of 2020, even if Nintendo themselves haven't got anything for us. Thanks for tuning in everyone. If you're new around here, my name's Phil, welcome to Nintendo Village. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you do, I hope you consider subscribing when you get to the end. If you're already subscribed and you're one of our regulars, thank you very much for tuning in as well. We really appreciate your continued support. Without further ado, let's get into it. A little over a month from now, Square Enix are bringing the remastered version of Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles to Switch, and iOS and Android devices, and PS4. I mention these things because this multiplayer-focused RPG will be rocking cross-play and cross-progression. So if for some reason you want to play the game on the go, but just can't bring yourself to take your Switch out into the big bad world, you can pick up your save right where you left off on your phone. Annoyingly, considering the game's couch co-op origins way back on the GameCube, there's only online multiplayer available this time around. But it was a fun one back in the day, and we're all stuck indoors at the minute anyway, so it should be well worth picking up. A day later, indie adventure Windbound sails onto the eShop, bringing some serious Zelda vibes. From the Link's Awakening opening, to the Breath of the Wild style survival, down to Wind Waker-esque exploration, this looks like it could be a cracking little adventure to sink your teeth into, whilst we wait for Aonuma and his crew to finish up the Breath of the Wild sequel. Later in the year, publisher Microids are bringing us another remaster in the shape of 13. Originally released all the way back in 2003, man I'm old, you play as an amnesia-ridden dude who has to get to the bottom of a plot to overthrow the US government. The cool cel-shaded art style is complemented by some cracking gunplay, a varied assortment of mission types, and a totally gripping narrative based on a Belgian graphic novel of all things. I really enjoyed 13 back on the GameCube, so I'm looking forward to revisiting that one. This next batch of games don't have hard and fast release dates, but they're all due sometime between summer and fall. That's autumn to us Brits. One that stood out back in March's Indie World presentation was The Last Campfire from Hello Games. I thought they were bringing No Man's Sky to Switch when Sean Murray popped up during the presentation, but this charming little puzzler looks like a much better fit. I've been enjoying more chill puzzle platform type games recently, and the beautiful melancholy aesthetic of this one makes me think it will be a great one to pick up on the inevitable rainy bank holiday weekend we get at the end of August, assuming it arrives by then. Eldest Souls also popped up in that presentation, and I absolutely adore the art in this. Like, just look how cool it is. It looks like it's going to be a hard as nails boss rush battler, and I can't wait to throw my Switch out of the window in frustration at this one. On the less aneurysm-inducing front, the Studio Ghibli-esque Baldo was a standout title from that same Indie World presentation. The fact it was introduced by a bald guy had me in stitches to start with, but I actually think this looks like a really fun and beautiful adventure RPG. It does seem rather adventurous in scope, but if the guys and gals at Nap's team in Italy can pull it off, this could be one of the gems of 2020 so far as Switch is concerned. One of the gems of 2017 was Switch exclusive Golf Story, an RPG that saw you swinging your club to solve all sorts of puzzles. Sidebar Games are taking that to its logical next level with Sports Story, another Switch exclusive, which will see you master not only golf, but tennis, football, volleyball, baseball, and all the other types of balls I'm sure, in what's undoubtedly going to be another hilarious adventure. Away from the indies, fall will see the arrival of EA's Apex Legends on the Switch. If you're unfamiliar with the award-winning shooter, it combines Fortnite and PUBG style Battle Royale with Overwatch-esque hero shooting elements in the form of Legends, and throws you into the mix with two teammates in a bid to be the last squad standing. Hopefully the performance and visuals don't suffer too much when it makes its way over, but it should be a nice free-to-play entry in the Switch's library. We're moving into Vega territory now. The rest of the list all have 2020 release windows, and we can expect some of them sooner rather than later. But bear in mind one or two may end up slipping into 2021. Bravely Default 2 is, bizarrely, the third game in the Bravely Default series, following Bravely Default and Bravely the Second. Nevertheless, the first game is widely lauded as one of the best RPGs on the 3DS, with a rich and compelling narrative, and I'm loving the look of this third game. If you want to get a taste for it, there is a demo available on the eShop, though beware, it's hard as nails. Doom Eternal was originally due out last November if I remember rightly, but ended up getting postponed until March for Xbox, PlayStation and PC, with the Switch release shifted to a vague window of soon. It's been reasonably quiet since then, although at the beginning of July, id Software's Marty Stratton did say they'll be talking about the Switch release date, soon. Still, the first game was a masterful port and Eternal has been roundly praised by critics on the other platforms, so it should be one to add to your library when it arrives, which is soon, apparently. Of all the games that are most likely to slip to a 2021 launch window, I reckon Gods and Monsters is probably it. We've heard precious little about the game since Ubisoft first revealed it back at E3 2019, but it is still slated for a 2020 release at the minute, so that's why it makes this list. There's no denying it looks gorgeous, and an open world adventure from the team that brought us Assassin's Creed Odyssey with a Greek mythology setting sounds awesome. Hopefully we'll hear a little bit more about this one shortly. Returning to March's Indie World presentation, I Am Dead assaults the senses with its bright, almost garish art style, and I admit I was almost immediately put off by that at the time. But then I learned that it's a puzzle adventure game in which you play as a deceased museum curator who roams the afterlife with the ghost of his dead dog Sparky in a bid to stop a volcano erupting, and frankly, I'm all in. Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory may not quite be the Kingdom Hearts experience Switch fans were necessarily hoping for, but Square Enix's Disney-themed rhythm section game may still turn out to be a lot of fun. It's packed full of classic Disney tunes after all, so it can't be that bad. Whether or not Kingdom Hearts showing up on Switch means those wanting Sora in Smash will get their wish though, remains to be seen. One of my most anticipated titles on this list is No More Heroes 3. Mario and Zelda aside, the original game was quite possibly my favourite one back on the Wii, and I can't wait for the return of Travis Touchdown. There's no hard and fast release date yet, but Suda51, the game's creator, has been dropping cheeky teases all over the shop lately, so that gives me some hope that we'll be furiously pumping our beam katanas before too long. And last but not least is The Survivalists from Team 17. A spiritual successor to their Prison Break series The Escapists, this co-op survival game dumps you on a procedurally generated island in an open world and tasks you with, well, surviving. There's crafting and building and a monkey army you can apparently train, that was the bit that sold it for me, and I just love the presentation. There was a demo available on PC not so long ago, so this one shouldn't slip to next year if we're lucky. Fingers crossed we'll be training chimps before we know it. And that's everything. Let me know down in the comments which, if any of these tickle your fancy, or if there's something else that you're hyped for entirely. Be sure to keep an eye on the NintendoVillage.com for release dates as they become available too. Thanks very much for watching, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, there's another one you might enjoy over there. And if you like that, do consider subscribing to stay up to date with all of our weekly uploads. Thanks again for watching, I'll catch you all next time.